twyfel weet. Jy is nie net 'n nommer nie, en jy is deel van die groter prentjie. Daar's 'n rede dat jy lewe, 'n doel vir jou bestaan. Daar's 'n plekkie in die son vir jou en my, 'n plekkie elkeen het 'n doel gekry. Al voel jy soos 'n sandkorreltjie klein wat in die grootste duin verdwyn. Jy vat my die hoogste hoogte se, die in die arend en die ander in die wind. Ons almal is maar sandkorreltjies klein, maar saam is ons die mooiste ding.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the program. This is Chris live in central Pennsylvania. Fixed the problem last night. I'll tell you what happened with my on-air sign yesterday. Now that I find myself wearing reading glasses, not habitually, but frequently, I actually had to have a little bit of nap before the game, the Springbok game yesterday, and then woke up and just a short nap because I had not got much sleep the past 36 hours. Took a short nap and came in. Light was out. It was dark outside because it was overcast day. My blinds are always drawn so the sun doesn't come in the studio. And I have a cord that comes out here, which I frankly should have plugged into the mains a long time ago, but I didn't do that because I'd had the snowman up there from Christmas and then forgot that there was another outlet there. And so I have this cord that comes out here and plugs into the light or the extension, which is for my studio lights. And you can tell the difference when the studio lights are off. So that's what the studio lights are off. That's what the room looks like right now in real reality. At 25% lighting, this is what it looks like. At 50% lighting, this is what it looks like. And with 100% of the cold light. That's what it looks like. Much better. Anyway, so those lights were off, and I tripped over the cord because I couldn't see clearly because eyes are not quite focused at close range now. And I ripped the plug out of the wall, which has happened before. But what really happened is that I ripped the connections inside the switch to turn it on and off, and I had bare wires. It was just before the Springboks broadcast, and so there wasn't time for me to do a little surgery on that with my electrical skills. So last night after the Springbok broadcast, I took apart the switch and then got busy and reconnected the wires with my wire cutters, trimmed them down, splicing, and voila. If you see smoke coming in the background, just say, hey, Chris, your house is on fire. But I think we'll be okay. I think we're going to be okay with the on-air sign. Anyway, so there you go, folks. The on-air sign is working again. Ramaphosa just spoke at General Assembly in New York City. What? The UN General Assembly. Okay. Yeah, that won't be funny, King. But the switch is a dead switch, kind of like UK and South Africa, where you turn off the mains with a little switch on each one of them. That way there's no power coming to them. We don't do that in America. All our mains are live. You plug in everywhere. You stick your finger in there. That's not a good idea. But the switch comes off that, and it's turned off, so there's no power. So when it's turned off, there's no danger. I only have the on-air sign when I'm recording and or I'm sitting here. Yes, Hendo says, Chris's dodgy do-it-yourself electrical work. Yeah. Well, that's what happened last night. The light is fixed, though. That's all I can say. Look, I mean, I'm headed towards poverty with this Biden inflation, so I can't afford to buy another sign. That thing's got to last forever. Anyway, back to the conversation. Let's see what we got to say here. So Charles Van Alts on the Voice of Reasons in from a freezing cold KZN, and we're going to talk about snow all over South Africa. A lot of it now being cleared off the highways, but it has been a hectic weekend for folks. And that's hectic in the U.S. sense of the word, not the South African sense. Dylan Combrick, welcome to you. Clive Streak, Val Cooper. And before anybody asks, I did send a message to Ronaldo Jos earlier to ask how he's doing. He seems to be in very upbeat mood. That's good. Pablo Charlie's here, James Bowie, John Huchin, Dylan Combrick, Monry Siebritz, Hester Kotza, Alan. Courtney McBride says, unlikely that we'll know how Pennsylvania votes election night. We'll have to wait several days. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable because the vast majority of the mail-in balloting will have already been counted or would have been available for counting. There's no reason that the state, well, they don't do it, but it's available. It's all sorted and it's easily done. And it's all machine fed. So it can all be done election night, and all ballots must be in by 8 p.m. The reason why we were cheated last time is that the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania overrode the law illegitimately, no basis whatsoever. The law did not violate the Constitution of the Pennsylvania Commonwealth, nor did it violate the federal Constitution. Yet the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, with 5 Democrats and 2 Republicans, voted 5-2 to allow for mail-in ballots, not federal absentee ballots, but mail-in ballots to be counted for 3 days after the election, which is a clear violation of election law. Now they've stated in 2024 that the ballots must arrive by 8 p.m. on Election Day, which is when the polls close. But that is not how they conduct the operations in 2020, and we wonder why. One day when we have no censorship on this platform, then perhaps we'll have this conversation. Or when I meet with folks and have my public speeches, I will tell you what really happened and why it was immoral and was illegal. And the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania is a rogue, out-of-control organization that does not follow the rule of law. Freelance Kate, I thought everyone has gone away. Suddenly the whole of Cape Town has arrived. Don't know what that means. Hester Coates, welcome to you. Robert Franklin Moore, hi from PE. Freelance Kate doesn't want people to be in Cape Town because it's nice. The weather is balmy. The climate is lovely. The scenery is incredible. And in some respects, it's much better than many other parts of the country. James says, not a happy man with the way the book. Well, neither am I, James. And people are going to lay it at Monty Liebig's fault, and they can. And there's no reason it's not illegitimate. His kick straight into touch cost us an opportunity to score, try, and/or get some points. And then he missed the easiest kick on the planet, except right in front of the post. But they never should have been in that position, so they all bear responsibility for the loss. Mike says hello from PA, and Eric is here. Diane Humpel's here. Helen Rich is back. Alan Kotza. Diane McMeekin, Gus Stilotis, and Pablo Charlie. What's this? Jono, welcome to you. Garrett is here. De Alta Canaba found the DLP called the Blix. What's this? Karen Blixen theme spot out of real life. I have no idea what you're talking about. I think that Garrett is into the mix again. Republicans in Pennsylvania have been requesting mail-in ballots en masse more than Democrats. I think Trump has a good chance of winning the Commonwealth. Yeah, they have, Courtney. And Republican registrations of voters are outpacing Democrats in Georgia, in Pennsylvania by a wide margin. And Scott Pressler is in no small way responsible for that. There's a super chat from Courtney saying, Mitt Romney will not vote for Trump in 2024. I know that, Courtney. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I do appreciate it, but I really don't care what Mitt Romney has to say. He's a turncoat, and he's treasonous in his behavior towards America's Constitution. As long as Act 77 is in place, we're screwed. Well, Act 77 is the problem, part of it, not all of it. Much of it's reasonable. Peter Koenig, so for instance, Mike, to let you know, prior to the update of Act 77 in October of 2019, military, diplomats, people in business traveling outside the state, those in care facilities could not do a polling station who used a legitimate federal absentee ballot, which has jeopardy attached by sending it through the Postal Service. Those voters were defrauded by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania because their ballots had to be in by Friday evening before the election. 4 days before the election, it had to be in Friday when business closed at 5 o'clock at the county, or your vote was not counted. Now, that's illegitimate, and that was wrong. And Pennsylvania defrauded hundreds of thousands of voters for decades by pulling that nonsense. It was the worst law in the country. Act 77 updated that and changed it so that you would allow your ballot to go into when the polls close, which is reasonable. Unfortunately, it also included for this mail-in balloting, no excuse mail-in balloting. Yep. Saw some clips of Charlie Kirk's Jubilee debate, and I must say those Democrats get very mad. I don't know what the Jubilee debate was. I did see a clip earlier with Charlie Kirk and Vivek Ramaswamy talking to a young lady who appeared to have lovely breasts, and she was exposing her nipple for us. It was very kind of her to show it. A lot of people are saying she did it on purpose. I don't think so. She was flustered because she's, a bubblehead. She had nothing in her head. Everything she said, just nonsense. Well, all your points are blah, 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 blah. And they just very calmly, well, you do this to people. You put them up in front of the camera. You walked up here voluntarily. I didn't ask you to speak to me. I am answering your questions, but you approached us, not we approached you. Anyway, so it's just pretty funny, but it's typical. It shows you just how stupid people are on campus. And frankly, if you're dumb enough to date women like that, whether you're a man or woman, and you date women that are that stupid, then, maybe you deserve what you get. One liberal versus 20 Republicans, and the Republicans are very respectful, in my opinion, says Pablo Charlie. A pub theme from Out of Africa with Meryl Streep around. What the heck is Garrett going on about? All right, so yesterday, let's talk about the rugby before we even get into the news. My goodness, what a Saturday. First off, let me just tell you right here, I am chuffed in the South African vernacular or UK vernacular. I am chuffed. In America, we'd say chafed means bad, like someone chafed your bum, but it's the same word. But South Africans in UK say chuff, which means you're really excited and happy. Rugby Ascendant had 126,000 views yesterday for the games that I covered. Now, that was the Eagles and Samoa, and we choked away and lost that game 18-13. Disappointing. Then it was the Curry Cup final. The Lions choked that game away, and I've got confirmation that my analysis was 100% correct. I don't know what they were doing. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then I carried the URC game of Munster and Connacht. Not many people tuned in, about 1,000, but thanks for that. And then the epic broadcast, 86,000 people rocked up during my broadcast. I know a lot of them just looking for a free broadcast. They're there for a few seconds and left. But nonetheless, 86,000 views. We gained 700 subscribers yesterday. I think that's what it was. 700, almost 800 subscribers on Rugby Ascendant yesterday. Thank you all so much. It was unbelievable. Pablo Charlie, you're late to the game. Courtney McBride is a Republican in name only. He's a rhino. He believes in a lot of crazy liberal ideals. He's a Navy reservist and a decent human being. So let's not start any fights there. Anyway, so 126,700, almost 800 new subscribers. We had 3,500 hours of content viewed for that broadcast. It was epic. Not anything in the way of super chats. I think one or two came in, a couple of new members, but unbelievable number of subscribers that joined us. Now, after the fact, 3,000 more people have watched it, so that's 89,000 views. It's the best. The best performing video I had previously was 50,000 for the Springbok match in Perfontaine, 38,000 live, and then we got 12,000 after the fact. Wow. Congo Chris, we're like a few minutes in the broadcast. I'm talking about rugby. I haven't even gotten to that yet. Have you covered Hezbollah yet? No. Probably wasn't doing anything. Anyway, so I'm really chuffed, folks. 100 and some thousand. Now, it's not a competition, but we swamped one of the other live streaming channels, which has over 80,000 subscribers to my just now 6,500 subscribers. They have 15 times as many subscribers as I do, and we had 4 times as many live viewers as they did. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. It was something else. Wow. It was, wow. Wow. What a day on Rugby Senate. I'm still a little bit knackered. I woke up at 6 o'clock and said, screw this. Rolled over and went back to sleep. Up at 7, up at 8, up at 9. Finally climbed up out of the rack at 9 o'clock and got busy with the day. That's the reason why my video, which I just published, got published just before the top of the hour on Action SA. I think it's a fair assessment. It's not an attack on Action SA. I think it's just a matter of stating for the public what's going on. Anyway, we'll get to the news here. We're going to talk about the Congo releasing prisoners, the DRC, and also talk about many things. Dan says, away Masakina. Ongisa Damane says, howdy, Colonel. Hey, Ongisa Damane. What's the hili jang, eh? Kwaheri. Switching languages there. Welcome to you. William Funderveld says, can you see my messages? Well, I see that one. Did you write something else? I see nice warm afternoon here in Cape Town. Look, I can't greet everybody. I don't catch everything. My apologies, folks. If you think I missed your messages. So let me just say hello to a bunch of people because that seems to be triggering some folks today. Excuse me. Charles Van Onsling, Clive Streak, Val Cooper, John Hoochin, James Bowie, Pablo Charlie, Freelance Kate, Courtney McBride, Robert Franklin Moore, Allison Johnson, Gus, Erica, James Bowie, Mike, Diane Humpel. I think that's where I left off at. Hendo, Teeny, Helen Rich, Ellen Kotza, Diane McMeekin, Gus, Brian Lawrenson, Teeny, Garrett Gillich, Jono, Allison Johnson, William Vandevalt, Erica, Charles Van Olsen, Peter Koenig. Most unpleasant here in Northern Cape. We need the rain. What's unpleasant? You don't have the rain or you're getting the rain, Peter. You do need rain. What else you got there? Who have I missed? I said Teeny already. And Ongisa, I welcomed as well. Congo Chris is here. Sorry, I was just asking because one message disappeared for some reason. It must have been something you typed. Listen, let's be up clear about this right now. I've got 71 people watching the program. Many of you know this. This isn't just I'm not whining. I'm not complaining. I'm just stating for a fact. We know, we have seen historically on my channels, YouTube sends, and I don't know if they do it on every channel. I haven't ever seen it on any other channel I've been on, but on my channels, YouTube comes in, they have their moderators. I don't know if it's AI or it's human beings, and they just delete things. I think it's AI. They just delete people's messages. If you say something that offends them, I have a list of words that are banned. I've shared that with people before, that you put in if you put in chat, your message disappears. That's automatic, but it's only 3 or 4, maybe 5 words, if that. And but Google does it all the time. Google moderators, they used to be honest. When they first started the crap, they came out and said, Google moderator has removed this. Well, if a Google moderator affects you, I have no control over it. I don't see your messages. None of my moderators have taken anything out to my knowledge so far today. So, William, you must have said something that set off the YouTube censorship machine, which draws more attention to the channel, and they pay more attention. So, also, they're not promoting things. But I will say this. Obviously, YouTube told people about my Springbok broadcast yesterday because, oh my goodness, it was carried by SABC, and I still had 89,000 people rock up. It was unbelievable. We had over 2,000 people watching live, and that number stayed at 1,500 to 1,800 for an hour and a half. That's unbelievable. We had unbelievable viewership yesterday. It was kind of like Senecal all over again on the original channel. That's what we had yesterday. Now, can we sustain that? I hope so. The thing about that channel is as it builds success, the more success you get, the quicker it goes. So let's hope it keeps up. We're really excited about that. For me, it became a real channel at 5,000. It was always a real channel, but I can state it's a real channel at 5,000. But yesterday, wow, I haven't told Joel Stransky yet that I had 89,000 viewers on that broadcast. It was epic. Epic. Thank you all for that. Okay, we'll get to the news now, folks. Enough of the whinging about the rugby. Oh, yeah. So let me go back before we get to the news. The Lions, in real time, I said, penalty. Kick it down the field. All they have to do is secure the line out, put the ball in play, and kick it into touch, and they've won the Curry Cup. That's all they had to do. Now, I will admit that I didn't grow up with rugby. I learned rugby later on. Maybe I'm not an expert. Maybe the official had said there's still time on the clock, but the hooter had gone off. There had been like 30, 40 seconds after the hooter. They had a successful line out. I got excited for the Lions fans. They went into them all. I'm like, what are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? And instead of getting the ball out of the maul and kicking in a touch, they turned the ball over. Now, the penalty that was granted for the Sharks was a bit suspicious, quite honestly. But hey, Jordan Hendrickson, dead-eye dick, 60 meters over the bar clearly, and the Lions squandered one of the most epic, dumb decisions in the history of rugby union. Unbelievably stupid. It reminds me of Jim Marshall recovering a fumble and running 99 yards the wrong way and scoring on his own team's goal in the National Football League back in the 1970s. Jim Marshall, wow, who later became a judge. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Anyway, that was just dumb. Courtney says, I sent a super chat. Yep. Courtney, thank you for the super chat. I don't think I did see it. There was one or two that came up. Yours might have been, but it was so much going on. It's tough during a game. Dumber than still playing Monty. Well, yeah, it was dumber than that, Arctic. It was dumber than that. Monty actually has to complete the kick. Somebody has to complete the kick. But all that the Lions had to do was kick it into touch. Just dribble it into touch. Throw it into touch. Knock it into touch. Bat it into touch. Something into touch. And unbelievable. How in the world did they lose that game? Now, people are saying the Sharks are back. Well, not based on that game. I'm telling you that right now. That wasn't incredible. If we learned anything this weekend, it's that a good kicker with big match attempt can change the outcome. Oh, wow. We knew that already, Congo Chris, but you're right. You were right about that. Jordan Hendrickson got it done, and Monty Libick didn't. And a lot of pressure coming from Monty today, but frankly, the Springboks didn't deserve the win. They did not deserve. But either did Argentina. They were atrocious for most of the game, too. Congratulations, Argentina. They've claimed the scalp of New Zealand, Australia in Argentina, and South Africa. They've never done that before. All three of these teams in the same year. An incredible season for them. Unbelievable. But Rassi Erasmus outwitted himself. He outsmarted himself. It was bound to happen, and this is one example of it. All right, snow all over South Africa. All passengers stranded on heavy snow on the N3 have been accounted for. The MEC Buthelezi confirmed on Sunday that authorities successfully accounted for all passengers who were stranded in heavy snow on the N3 over the weekend. He was addressing a press conference hosted by the KwaZulu-Natal acting premier at the Provincial Disaster Management Center in Pietermaritzburg. Buthelezi said at some point 1,823 vehicles were stuck between Van Riemen's Pass and the Mui River Plaza. All passengers that were on the road have been accounted for as of last night. All cars have been evacuated, but there's still a problem with the trucks on the road that still need to be cleared. All the cars have been evacuated. The situation remains critical due to the presence of abandoned trucks on the road. Authorities are urging the public to avoid the N3 as the cleanup process is still ongoing. I would suggest that you take the passenger train from Durban to Johannesburg should you need to travel. Oh, hey, there isn't one. The rails are out of service. The deceased passenger was a woman, and we wait until we make a contact. What's this? Somebody died. A woman died after a taxi was stranded in the Midlands. Ah, shame. They're contacting the family about the passing of that woman. And in other news, Jan van Riebeck was formally charged with snowfall this weekend. The racist regime of Jan van Riebeck, the colored man who ruled the Cape starting in 1652, has now been brought to book in the International Court of Justice by the African National Congress. They're pursuing a case against him for human rights violations and genocide for trying to dump snow on top of vulnerable South Africans. Yes, that's right, folks. Jan van Riebeck and the colonial government of the Dutch East India Company will appear in the docket next week at the International Court of Justice to answer for their crimes against humanity. This, according to ANC spokesman Doofus Dummy. Emergency teams worked flat out to reopen the gridlock section of N3. Look at that. Now I drive in the snow and I know what I'm doing, but that's a challenging road right there. Look at that. That's a tough one. With snow chains, doable. Without chains, that's impossible. That's the clear section going uphill. Look at it going downhill on the other side. All those trucks just jammed up. My goodness. Rescue recovery operations continued on the N3 today where heavy snowfall trapped hundreds of people. The N3 toll concession said the toll route remained closed to incoming traffic between the Tugela Plaza and the Harrismith in the Free State. All four lanes obstructed by heavy and light vehicles from the town of Van Reenen towards Swinburne and Montrose Junction. Some of the vehicles are abandoned by the drivers, have to be moved out of the way one by one to allow the graders to continue to work on the section of roadway. My goodness. Arrive alive. Look at that, man. Visuals reveal the magnitude and impact of heavy snowfall at Van Reenen Pass.
This is on top of Van Reenen N36X 57.0 north and south.
Wow, that is hectic. To use the South African vernacular, that is hectic. 30 kilometers backlog of traffic from Harrismith towards Van Reenen. And as I said, the snow was there. Rescue missions were underway overnight. Today, the snow removal continues for those stuck on the N3. Rescue missions were still underway early Sunday for motorists who were trapped on the freezing snow for 2 days. Authorities and emergency services have been working since Saturday morning to clear the snow. Wow, that's just crazy. Crazy what's going on there. And earlier, the Van Reenen Pass was still closed. I don't know the current status of it. I believe it's open now. N3 is still closed at Van Reenen Pass as bitter cold claims one life and KZN hit with a level 6 snow warning. Look at that, man. Truck from Northwest. Rescue operations continued slowly as of 8:30 this morning, which is several hours ago now. The N3 between Van Reenen and Swinburne remained closed. The N3 and a number of other routes were closed due to heavy snowfall in KZN and the Free State. Coincided with an increase in traffic as people traveled down the coast for the long weekend, and the road closures caused a huge backlog of standing traffic. My goodness, a blanket of snow covers vehicles at a service station. Well, there's a KFC there. I bet they're selling out of everything. It's unlikely that the road between Harrismith and Tugela will open anytime soon, is what they said earlier today. I don't know the current status. Does anybody know the current status of the Tugela Pass? This is just hectic beyond belief. Some dumb people out there don't know how to drive in this weather. Still trying to give it a shot. We had 6 to 67 learners from the Kwabi Primary School were traveling to Durban, from Durban to Kwaba. They've been stuck. Yeah, so wow. Man, that's some hectic stuff. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, you're not experiencing winter driving, you shouldn't be out doing it. You shouldn't be out doing it. Stay home, stay off the roads. Don't do that. It's just not smart. You cause more problems than it's worth. I mean, we already have enough challenged people that don't know what they're doing driving South Africa. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of unlicensed motor vehicle operators driving on the roads of South Africa, endangering public safety, unroadworthy vehicles all over the roads of South Africa. We already face that daily struggle in South Africa, unlike here, where if you get caught driving with a car with no insurance and no driver's license, or a car that's not gone through an inspection, you are in some deep kimchi here. Yep, you still have that video on your channel from the Brockenfell debacle. It's on my original channel, William. You got to go to the @Real Chris Wyatt for that. If it was in 2020, because this channel wasn't created until April 2021. When was Brockenfell? Was that 2020? I think it was. That'll appear on the original channel @Colonel Chris Wyatt. Yep. So let me see if I can go to that channel very quickly and find that, just because I'm curious since you mentioned it. Let me go there very quickly. YouTube. I got to go to @Real Chris Wyatt. The problem is YouTube search is evil against me. @Real. Okay. Election 2020 is there. Let me see if I can do Brockenfell. Now, if I do it, it doesn't even show up. I do a search from my channel. Wow. I do a search from my channel, and it shows me a guy who's swimming, The Simpsons, Crazy Weary, Big Daddy Liberty, a video that I didn't even appear in about the Bella Bill, Pepper's Echo. That's it. Doesn't show my channel at all. Can you believe that? And if you think I'm kidding, I'll show you this. Hang on. This is what YouTube does. This talk about hiding stuff. This is just evil. So you can see the search term on YouTube. Okay, you ready? Up at the top it says @Real Chris Wyatt Brockenfell, right? So it should go to my channel, even if it doesn't return any videos for Brockenfell, but it should go to my channel. Look at this. Why? Some guy swimming, somebody fishing, snow, Big Daddy Liberty, and a show that I didn't appear on, Megaphone. That's because I'm subscribed to these. Megaphone Rugby, nothing to do with, and Pepper's Echo. My channel doesn't even show up there. Now let's just try it with Real Chris Wyatt. Get rid of the Brockenfell and see if it shows my channel. Okay, there's my channel. Okay. Okay. And a lot of things unrelated. So let's go to Real Chris Wyatt. Okay. All right. There's the channel. 20,000 subscribers. And let's search for Brockenfell. Now, it might be hidden on my channel, so it may not show up. There you go. Brockenfell. Violent thugs flee. That's 15 minutes. Brockenfell live. That's the one you're talking about right there. 23,000 views. Okay. But look what I had to do to find it. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there for those who want it, because apparently that's a topic of discussion here. That's from 3 years ago. So it's still there. Okay, so let me just play that for a second. I want to see what that looks like. Okay. There's a super chat from Erica. I remember that. That's in Northwest there. From the scene in Brockenfell. Let me just keep adding these, and they come. Well, I look tired because the videos come in as they come in. These are a little bit older. I've showed you the most recent ones already, so let's just add a few more in here, just to keep you up to date as they come in.
Only allow 400 people to be here today.
Toying and Dan. Mornay to come back, who's currently tied up coordinating security. Well, let me share with you very quickly, folks. I'm Chris Wyatt, retired U.S. Army Colonel, retired from U.S. Army. They're jollies. That's how they feel like real men and real women, is by menacing children and spewing racial hatred. Folks, this is a domestic terrorist organization masquerading as a political party. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it, ladies and gentlemen. 1,000 likes on that. It is a 23,000 views. That shows you the shadow banning, how hard it was for me to find that. It was so hard to find that, folks. Just now, I had to do a massive search for that. Yeah, that's. Thank you for the super chat, Erica. E70 ran. I guess white as driven snow will be classified as racist. Yep. Unfortunately, South African drivers do not know what driving snow is about. They don't even know. Look, Robert. Listen, I can tell you. I left Durban 20-some years ago, and I was in shorts coming off the beach. The weather was fine. Drove up. I think I stopped at Peter Maritzburg. I stopped in Durban to get fuel. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, before that. And then I continued on. The weather came, and a weather system came in, and it hit the N3. It went to Van Reenen Pass and dropped snow, and the snow continued. As I went past the toll plaza, people were pulling off on the side of the road in the snow, just barely any snow on the ground. They were terrified of it. I continued to drive. As I got through Van Reenen Pass, there was at least probably about this much snow accumulated on the ground. I had a higher car with no chains. But I know what I'm doing. I drove successfully through there. Continued up through the Free State. The snow continued to fall. Got to Joburg. Went to, I think it was a Holiday Inn Express or Holiday Inn, something like that. And I parked the car outside, walked inside in my shorts, and the guy at the check-in desk like, "Sir, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, why? What's up?" "Well, you look a little underdressed." I'm like, "Well, I got in the car in Durban. It was kind of balmy. Next time I got in the car, it was here." Anyway, so beard is magnificent. Should have seen it when it's down at the end. Antoinette says, "Wow. The Colonel's online depersoning is quite thorough." What is depersoning? ICE is very racist. It is, Pablo. It's translucent, and therefore it's dangerous. Yep, EFF Brockenfell. Yep, so Antoinette Thomas says, "Wow, well, you should have seen it. Look, I've been doing this now for 2020. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 5th year. When we get to February of 2025, it will be 5 full years that I've been doing this. And I had a big audience, and then I got shadow banned, and you see what happens. William's only ever seen snow in Sarah's. I've seen ziplining Sarah's. We in the town next to Brockenfell. That was crazy outside the high school. Okay, Antoinette. Okay. Cool. Mention shadow banning. They try. Oh, yeah. Oh, it used to be called use deeper. Oh, gotcha. No, it's true. It's true. That video had 23,000. That was all when it was live. 23,000. I think the peak on that one was 2,500. The most I ever had in a live stream was 8,600, which is absolutely incredible. That was, of course, cynical. And ever since then, it's been downhill and then side sledding. Pretty wild. Yesterday, we had 2,000 in the rugby broadcast. Yeah, I know. It's amazing that you even found my channel, Antoinette. I'm clearly shadow banned and attacked by all kinds of people on the far left especially, but also on the far right. People who demonize me, people who lie about me, people who commit slander and libel, criminal injuria. I've taken none of them to court. Let the facts stand where they may. I am who I am. I've harmed no one. I've leave this world, when I leave this world, a far better place than I found it, saving hundreds of thousands of lives and making lives much better at an individual level around the world for Africans, for Americans, for Europeans. I've defended our Constitution with honor and dignity. I have stood up for right always, and that's who I am. And if that bothers people, then they can foot-sec. I really don't care about it. There's been a trend on all of my live streams of late on this channel. YouTube is limiting monetization. They've come after me again. I suspect it might be because I've used some potty mouth in most of those videos. Occasionally, after a long time talking, I'll throw the F-bomb out there, something like that. That might be what it is, but I'm going to do an experiment and try to not talk about the choosing. You know what that is when you go and vote, the choosing. And also try not to use potty words and see if it happens. Yep. There's the Senecal live stream. There you go. And that's Hendo's just put it in there. Thank you, Hendo. Yeah, Antoinette, it's so do you live in Belleville? Is that where you live, Antoinette? Yeah, you don't have to disclose that if you don't want to. Koui River. Anyway, so most roads in KZN have been reopened according to the latest story from 4 hours ago. Several roads have been reopened to traffic after being closed due to the heavy snowfall. The Sani Pass, the Bosmans Neck, and Mononcha ports of entry have been closed for operation. Graders. We call them snowplows. Operations to clear heavy snow in certain parts of KZN, the Free State got underway. Yep. So heavy snowfall, icy conditions, and poor visibility prompted traffic authorities to warn motorists to avoid travel to KZN, the Free State, and the surrounding areas. I wonder what the Golden Gate part looks like this weekend. I wonder what it really looks like over there. Beautiful. Must be something else. Clarence must be really lovely. Longest night of my life, says a stranded motorist describing the freezingly cold wait in the snow. University of Pretoria student administrator Zizi Mia should have arrived home in Pietermaritzburg on Friday night after driving from Gauteng at about 2 p.m. Instead, because of the heavy snowfall and freezing weather, which resulted in the highway being closed, he was stuck inside his Audi A3 between Montrose and Van Rienes Pass. Well, there you go. That sucks. That sucks. There you go. The Senecal live stream had 140,000 views. That wasn't normal for me. For prepared videos, live streams, that was pretty hectic. But we had the 8,600 was the peak, I think, of live streaming at one time. We had 140,000 views on it. Yeah, just crazy, huh? Vodacom payout. Now, this is just nonsense here. This is all race hustling. Vodacom payout will hurt black investors. BE scheme wants to join the please call me fight in court. So Vodacom has cheated the man who recorded that out of his residuals. And he went to court and he got a big fine. And so now they're saying that because the money that's owed to him, he should have been paid all along, it's unfair to the black investors. No, it's unfair to the man that Vodacom cheated. Vodacom must pay him. Get over it. Get over it. Yebu Yetu, which was created in 2008 as the main black empowerment scam for Vodacom, has 80,000 indirect shareholders who are paid regular dividends. It has filed court papers to be accepted as a friend of the court, an amicus, in the protracted legal fight between the cell phone giant and Mr. Makata. Legal dispute over Makata's compensation is headed for the Constitutional Court, which will hear Vodacom's application. Tabo Mokolakta, chair of Yebu Yetu, says the founding affidavit should be the decision as Supreme Court of Appeals stand. 80,000 black indirect shareholders may not be paid any dividends. More dire, however, is that such payment would trigger events for purposes of the preference share arrangements and would commence the demise of Yebu Yetu. How does it commence the demise? What is that all about? The Supreme Court of Appeals set aside 47 million rand offer that Vodacom CEO Shamil Yosub made to Malete 5 years ago. They should be paying him for all the money they owe him, plus a reasonable rate of interest, which ought to be 8 to 10% for that time frame. He rejected that. The court ordered Vodacom to pay him between 5 and 7.5% of total voice revenue generated by the Please Call Me service over 18 years. Plus interest. There you go. That's what he should be paid. And that's too bad if a BE scam loses out on it. That wasn't their money. The corporation defrauded him by giving them dividends that they weren't entitled to. So I have no empathy for them whatsoever. None. This is just more race hustling. BE garbage. More racism garbage. Police have destroyed an illegally constructed bridge across the Limpopo River used for cross-border crimes. So people are slipping into South Africa over the Limpopo. It looks more like the Limpopo pond than the river at this stage. But you can see where a bridge was built there illegally, and the police have destroyed it. Now, here's the part that's a problem, folks. Let me tell you about this. All right? The police have destroyed an illegally built bridge across Limpopo, which is believed to have been used for cross-border criminal activities. The bridge was spotted this week by border policing members deployed to South African and Zimbabwean border. The bridge is less than a kilometer east of the Bight Bridge port. Less than a kilometer from, you can see it from Bight Bridge. It's that close, literally. How long was this bridge up? Obviously, more than a day. Look at that construction. Those stones were put in place. Planks were put across it. The South African border with Zimbabwe is as bad as the southern border of the United States. There's no control. No control. We saw AfriForum out patrolling the area, exposing how open it was to people slipping in. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Julius Malema has penned an op-ed that appears in the Sunday Times regarding the nationalization of the Reserve Bank, saying it's critical to economic transformation. In other words, defrauding minority South Africans and impoverishing them for the benefit of his black supremacy agenda. Make no mistake, Julius Malema doesn't care about equality for all. He cares about black supremacy so he can profit from it. There you go. He says the EFF has always been clear, folks. Let's get this straight. He said they've always been clear about their view on this. He says it's essential to understand that the state ownership of central banks is not a foreign concept. More than 75% of central banks worldwide are state-owned. Countries such as China, who cares, India, Japan, and most of Europe exercise sovereign control over their central banks. It's done with an understanding that state ownership is essential for guiding the economy, maintaining financial stability, and implementing monetary policy that serves the interest of their citizens. State control. Who is the state, ladies and gentlemen, but crooked politicians that none of you voted for? Please raise your hand if you voted for Julius Malema to be a member of parliament. Raise your hand if you voted for John Steenhuisen to be a member of parliament. Raise your hand if you voted for Ronaldo Jose to be a member of parliament, or Gayton McKenzie, or Cyril Ramaphosa. You didn't vote for any of those people. They're appointed. They're appointed. Who made them experts to decide what your central bank should do? He continues saying the reality is that private ownership, even without direct profit incentives, results in undue influence. And state control of interest rates doesn't result in undue influence. Look at the sclerotic growth of Europe and India and Japan, countries you're talking about with central control by central banks. They all suck. Europe is flatlined for 2 decades. Japan has been dead since 1987 economically. Now its population's dying off. Not related, but just a point to make. China, which robbed and pillaged the world, can no longer succeed by simply robbing and pillaging. It's now flatlining. Yet he's arguing that undue influence. Well, clearly undue influence by appointed, corrupt state bureaucrats are the problem. He says it allows private shareholders to be the gatekeepers of economic power in South Africa that affects the banks, the insurance sector, and that perpetuates racial profiling of black people as they continue to be victims of an untransformed financial sector. Black victims. The largest middle class in South Africa is black. All the big mining companies are owned by BEE now. Hence, the reluctance to nationalize the bank has little to do with the economy and more to do with preserving the prevailing current of economic status quo that benefits white minorities. Racist. Racist. Commentary. The nationalization of a bank is not just a symbolic act, it's a practical step towards building an economy that serves the people. The proposed amendments will result in the state being the bank's sole shareholder. Yeah, because the South African state has done so much good since 1994. Yeah, okay, and did so much good before 1994. We can trust the state. The state gave us apartheid. The state gave us the ANC. The state gave us kleptocracy, patronage. Wow. The Minister of Finance will be empowered to appoint the auditors of the bank, and you don't think that's a self-licking lollipop, Juju? The minister will also be mandated to make regulations related to the appointment of directors. This will allow for the bank's policies to align with our national goals, industrialization, job creation, and poverty eradication. No, it will allow for patronage and corruption, which we see on all the state entities. Eskom, Transnet, Airports Company South Africa, South African Airways. Shall I go on? And now there's a new oil company now. Unbelievable. The chair of the Federal Reserve is appointed by the President of the United States. That is correct. And that's undue influence. Yep. But it is a private organization. Victimized race hustlers are in need of grief counselor ASAP, Pablo Charlie says in greed. Vodacom was stupid in their handling of that case, says Arctic. Was he a Vodacom employee at the time he came up with the pleas? No, I don't think so. I think he was not a Vodacom employee. If he was, then Vodacom owns it. If he wasn't, then they don't know anybody. Malema had his way. Kapitek cues would become bread lines. Yep. Anyway, what an idiot. Well, folks, a Shoshugunguve man in Pretoria, that's an informal settlement that's quite bleak and terrifying if you've ever been there, just north of Pretoria when you go across the motorway. Drive up to where that ancient meteorite hit, blew a big crater up there. You have to drive through there. This gentleman set up a toll gate, charging 5 Rand per car, and gets away with it. Extortion. This reminds me of the pirates on the Rhine River who built castles all along the Rhine and demanded payment for boats to pass. If he was an employee, it's one thing. If he's under contract, it can be a very different situation. Depends on the terms of the contract, Arctic. It's like the guy who invented Post-its. You know, those little Post-it, you write on them, you stick it here. He was an employee of 3M. That is a multi-billion-dollar per year business, not just for 3M now that's no longer protected. Now everybody makes them. It's tens of billions of dollars a year selling Post-its. In fact, here's a Post-it right here. Hang on. They all used to be yellow from 3M, but they come a multitude of colors now. So here's a Post-it right here. Anyway, there you go. So there's a Post-it right there, one of these little sticky things. That's a multi-billion-dollar. And the guy who invented it using adhesive got nothing. He was an employee of the company. Got nothing. Yep. Anyway, this guy's putting up tolls using a garden rake and what looks like a piece of rope to make a makeshift boom. A man who lives in Nicklin, informal settlement in Shoshugunguve near Pretoria, has made himself the authority of a road used for a shortcut into and out of the area and is charging motors 5 Rand to drive on it. The man-made boom is attached to what appears to be a carport that acts as a control point. He even has a stop sign on the floor. But locals have had enough. They say that Bra Dunny, the name most of them know him by, only operates the informal toll gate at certain times, and then having to pay it to use the road is unfair. If you only have $4.50, he turns you away. No discussions. It's unfair that people must pay to use a makeshift road. Even rumors he's going to increase the fee. Well, this is illegal. If he owns the land, different story, but I doubt he owns the land. And people let them get away with that. That's kind of nonsense people get away with. Well, we were Curry Cup champs for 10 seconds. A dejected Kosi, and Kosi laments the Lions' stupidity. And this confirms exactly what I said. Wow. In a Curry Cup final in which they stayed in the fight and counterpunched their way to an unlikely winning position, the Lions somehow fluffed their lines to fashion a heartbreaking defeat. An inexplicable decision to maul after the final. Hooters saw Mzwakhe and Kosi's charges lose the ball and concede the penalty that made former Lions fly half Jordan Hendrickson the hero for his new team. A gutted Nkosi was as proud as he was frustrated with his players. Well, quite frankly, what the heck was going on here? I didn't go to the post-game press conference because I don't have credentials with the Lions, but this was brain dead beyond belief. How do you squander that game? They won it. They won the Curry Cup, and they just gave it away. Just gave it away. Well, error-prone Boks blow their chance to secure the Rugby Championship as Monty Libbik comes on with disastrous results. Monty Libbik will be seen as the villain of the piece after missing a relatively straightforward late penalty that would have given the Springboks victory against Argentina and with it the championship. It was a howler at this level, but the 29-28 defeat was the outcome that many Bok errors over 80 minutes. Wow. Rossi says, I'm sure he'll get a lot of flack for missing that kick, but it shouldn't have been on the last kick for us to win. We should have done it much earlier. Well, quite frankly, you should have done it when you had a penalty with 5 minutes left in the game. Monty Libbik kicked the ball dead instead of kicking it down. Or you should have taken the points then. So you're right, Rossi. You've outwitted yourself. Springboks coach Rossi Erasmus is too smart for Rossi Erasmus. Too smart for his own good. He won't blame Monty Libbik for the Argentine defeat. I blame Rossi Erasmus and Salman Morat. That's who I blame. I don't blame the officials, but I will say that the yellow card against Kurtley Arnse was just BS. Total bogus nonsense. The World Rugby has to address that. As I mentioned, South African women are out for the World 15-2 tournament and they're looking for a way going forward. Boy, they love to promote Nadine Ruiz. I think she's a good player, but it's like she's the only player on the team. On a team with almost no white players, she gets all the attention. South Africa began their WX15 campaign against Japan, a tough opposition, but likely the easiest competitor in the tournament. They meet Friday, September 27th, and I'll be covering it if it's broadcast. I don't know if it's going to be broadcast. I was going to be present for the game, but now I'm not going to be in South Africa. I was departing early this week, but not happening. Just don't have the cash. The Democratic Republic of Congo, after a prison break which led to many deaths, now has freed 600 criminals from their main prison to ease overcrowding. Authorities in Congo said they released 600 prisoners in the country's main prison yesterday as part of a process aimed at decongesting overcrowded prisons. Justice Minister Constant Mutamba announced the move at a ceremony at Makala Central Prison. Earlier this month, an attempted jailbreak in the prison left 129 people dead, including some who were shot by guards and soldiers and others who died in a stampede at the overcrowded facility. Wow. Yoweri Museveni's son is not going to run for president despite jockeying to get in that position. And why? Because they want his 8,000-year-old father to continue being president. Museveni's son says he will not run in the Ugandan presidential race. The son of Uganda's long-serving leader, Yoweri Museveni, since 1986, said on Saturday he had abandoned plans to run for presidency next year, urging supporters to endorse his father instead. Wow. Kainerugaba, currently the head of the military, is widely expected to eventually become his father's chosen successor. But instead, they want the illegitimate leader, Yoweri Museveni, in office for a seventh term. A seventh term. Turning our attention to West Africa, floods in Chad, a Sahelian state, kill 503. Wow. Severe flooding in Chad since July has claimed 503 lives and affected 1.7 million people since July. Destroyed 212,000 houses, flooded 357,000 hectares of fields, and drowned 70,000 head of cattle. All of the country's provinces have been hit. Chad's water and energy minister told journalists Saturday morning, warning of more trouble to come. The waters of the Longone and the Chari rivers have reached critical height, likely cause obvious severe flooding. Wow. Water coming from all private wells should be treated with chlorine before consumption because they've been flooded with bad stuff, viruses and such. Israel's military has closed the Ramallah Al Jazeera office. Israeli authorities have been putting pressure on local operations on the network, saying its coverage threatens national security. Israel's military raided the office of influential Arab broadcaster Al Jazeera in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. No, correct you, New York Times, the Judea, province of Judea. On Sunday, and ordered its closure for 45 days. The raid illustrated the Israeli authorities were prepared to take far-reaching action to undermine the channel. Well, understandably so. Al Jazeera is not even remotely objective in its reporting. It's also dishonest and promotes lies. That said, I do turn to Al Jazeera for stories not related to the Middle East or the United States because they tend to be objective, but not when it comes to the Middle East. Just take one look at their page. It's all lies about Israel. And here's one. Israel closes Al Jazeera bureau in Ramallah. All you need to know. At 3 a.m., heavily armed Israeli soldiers raided the offices, throwing the team out. You actually have people working at 3 a.m.? You're one of the few news agencies actually doing that. On live television, heavily armed Israeli soldiers raided Al Jazeera's occupied West Bank, no, Ramallah, is in Judea, office, and handed the bureau chief a notice to shut down. They ordered everyone working the overnight shift at the bureau to leave, telling them they could take only their personal belongings. The order came from Israeli military authority despite the bureau being in Area A, an area delineated as being under Palestinian control in the Oslo Accords. Okay, well, the problem with the Oslo Accords, Al Jazeera, is that the Palestinian Authority doesn't abide by them. They didn't accept the two-state solution, so the Oslo Accords mean nothing. They mean nothing. But they're referring to it here to complain that Israel is in territory under their control since 1967. That's dishonest. You got to be honest. Yep. Well, that's too bad for Al Jazeera. Shame. You should report the news objectively. Hezbollah fires over 100 rockets across the border in a wider and deeper area of Israel. Hezbollah launched more than 100 rockets early Sunday across a wider and deeper area of northern Israel, with some landing near the city of Haifa, as Israel launched hundreds of strikes on Lebanon. The sides appeared to be spiraling towards all-out war after months of escalating tensions. One rocket struck near a residential building in Kiryat Bialik, a community near Haifa, wounding at least 3 people and setting buildings and cars on fire. Israel's Mogen David Adam Rescue Service said that a total of 4 people were wounded by shrapnel in the barrage. Attacking civilians. These are crimes against humanity. Hezbollah is guilty of crimes against humanity, launching attacks against civilians. Well, live updates. Hezbollah retaliates with missile strikes against Israel. Targeted areas in Israel further south than most of its previous attacks, reinforcing fears of broader regional conflict. Prime Minister Netanyahu appeared to suggest today that Israel would not ease up attacking Hezbollah, saying his country would take whatever actions necessary to diminish the threat posed by the Lebanese group, despite fears that they escalate. They call them a militia group. They're a terrorist group. Hezbollah is a terrorist group. They're not a militia group. Well, Americans are urged to leave Lebanon by the State Department. U.S. citizens in Lebanon are being urged to leave while commercial flights are still available. U.S. government has updated travel advisory urging all citizens in Lebanon to depart while commercial flights are still available amid signs that tensions between Iran-backed Hezbollah and Israel could further escalate. In an update issued yesterday, the U.S. State Department stressed that the unpredictable nature of the ongoing conflict between Hezbollah and Israel and recent explosions throughout Lebanon, including the capital city of Beirut, may significantly hinder Americans' ability to safely leave the country. Yep. Well, folks, as the Taliban ramps up things, it's getting even worse. Yep, now they're restricting what men can do. They've already imprisoned women, these sick, twisted, medieval clowns. Besides imposing severe rules on women, new laws require men to grow fist-length beards and bar them from imitating non-Muslims in appearance or behavior. As the Taliban enforcing draconian new rules on women in Afghanistan, it has also begun to target a group that didn't see tight restrictions on them coming, Afghan men. Women have faced an onslaught of increasingly severe limits on their personal freedom and rules about their dress since the Taliban seized control 3 years ago, courtesy of corrupt Joe Biden, the demonic lunatic occupying the White House, and his friend and fellow traveler, Kamala Harris. Men, for the most part, could carry on freely, but the past 4 weeks have brought significant changes for them. New laws promulgated in late August mandate that men wear fist-long beard, bar them from imitating non-Muslims in appearance, and widely interpreted as prohibition on jeans, and ban haircuts that are against Islamic law, which essentially means short Western styles. Men are now also prohibited from looking at women other than their wives or relatives. Are you serious? Are you serious? Men can't look at women? All right, that's going to be awkward. Oh, sorry. Wow. What a bunch of lunatics. Someone needs to take them out. Needs to remove them from governance. A gas explosion in Iran has led to at least 51 fatalities, with the number likely to rise. Methane leak in the coal mine in Tabas. Emergency officials said the toll is likely to rise as rescuers struggle to reach victims. Images from the scene showed emergency personnel at the scene arriving in ambulances, helicopters, teams on foot carried victims from the mine's entrance. One man on a stretcher was covered in thick black soot. Other victims were being pulled out in metal mining carts. He said many of those were trapped in locations 700 meters diagonally beneath the surface. Wow. Look at that. Iran, coal mining accident. Thoughts and prayers for those miners. France's new prime minister, according to the Wall Street Journal, a paper no longer worthy of reading, once his venerable financial publication has become a leftist rag, says that the prime minister forms a government shifting rightward. The cabinet remains largely dominated by ministers from the ranks of President Emmanuel Macron, despite his party's heavy losses in recent parliamentary elections. Well, there you go. France has a new government and has a new cabinet. Violent crime is surging in Canada. Gee, I wonder why. Why might crime be surging in Canada? Could it be the lawlessness fostered by the corrupt regime of Justin Trudeau? Could have something to do with it. Violent crime, particularly sex crimes, are skyrocketing across Canada. What has changed in Canada since Justin Trudeau and the Liberals came to power? Unconstrained, unregulated, well, not unregulated, but unconstrained immigration? Does that have anything to do with it? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It's a question to ask. Violent crime surging in some of Canada's major cities, with sexual assault rates showing the largest increase over the short and long term. What has happened? What changed in the cultural norms of Canada in the past 5 years to lead people to believe it's okay to sexually assault someone? Was this the norm in Canadian society 10 years ago, 20 years ago? No, it wasn't. What has happened? The de-Anglicization of Canada, the de-Francophonization of Canada, the de-Westernization of Canada, the destruction of Canada under Liberals. That's what's happened. Just like in Germany, just like in the UK, which is the worst example of it, just like in American cities and around our world. Barbaric, culturally bankrupt, criminal alien invaders have flooded our shores and undermined the rule of law, encouraged and facilitated by corrupt politicians who seek to destroy our societal norms. There wasn't a term in the Swedish language for gang rape until they let the country be flooded by millions of criminal alien invaders and false asylum seekers. And now, gang rape is a regular occurrence for Swedish women and girls. Sexual assault cases climbed in 8 of 9 major cities over the past 7 years, with Ottawa being the exception. The incidence of sexual assault has risen since 2016 in Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Toronto, Montreal, and in Ontario in Peel and York, with York doubling from 2016 to 2023. In recent years, there's been a surge in violent crime across Canada as a whole. We found that violent crime was increasing in many cities in the short term, most notably for sexual assaults and robberies. Wow. That's crazy. Canada's out of control. It's a crap hole country. Sorry, Canada. That's what it's become. Well, Donald Trump has turned down an invitation to do a debate, and he's right. What's the point? Voting is already underway. It's too late. Republican candidate says debate would just be too late. Voting has already started, and his demon rat opponent has declined an earlier proposed debate. Yep, he offered to debate her earlier, and she turned it down. So now she's going to try to claim that he turned it down. Vice President Kamala Harris accepted an invitation yesterday from CNN to debate former President Trump for a second time. The prospect of another showdown between the candidates appears unlikely, as the former president told rallygoers in North Carolina the same day that the proposed date is too late in the cycle. I'll gladly accept a second debate on October 23rd. I hope Donald Trump will join me, Harris said in a Twitter post. The Trump campaign responded to the inquiry from the Epoch Times, saying that CNN's invitation by pointing to Trump's 12 September post in Truth Social, which states emphatically there won't be a subsequent debate. Well, there you go. Trump asked for a debate, and this whole thing is just bogus anyway. There's a commission that does presidential debates. Where are they at in all this? They're the ones supposed to coordinate this. They're the ones supposed to find the broadcast networks to set up. They're the ones supposed to set up. Why wasn't all this done sooner? First off, we have an out-of-cycle debate in July that makes no sense to get rid of Biden. That's what they did. They did that to get rid of Biden, to steal the Democratic nomination. They got rid of Biden, despite 14.5 million votes for him. That was intentional. Why Trump ever accepted a debate against Joe Biden then is beyond belief. I don't understand. He should have let him become the nominee and then debate him when they're stuck with him. And then he has a debate, which is clearly we're waiting. The media are covering this story up, but we know that there are claims that ABC coordinated with the campaign and intentionally fact-checked Trump and pulled the nonsense they pulled. They clearly rehearsed all their stages. That wiry, whiny, lying SOB male guy had answers immediately. Well, that's not what I got from it. Yeah, no, because you rehearsed that. Yeah, Trump shouldn't debate anymore. I like debates, but I don't think he should. Kamala Harris has yet to post any of her policy issues, and a New York Times article about Donald Trump says his policy issues are non-existent. Unfortunately, that's a lie. That's a lie. This is Donald Trump's platform, and here are the issues. Working on the economy, fair trade, energy dominance, secure borders, war on drug cartels, stop crime, restore safety, renew American strength and leadership. That's kind of a fuzzy one. Reject globalism, embrace patriotism, care for our veterans, protect parents' rights, defend law and liberty, end censorship, reclaim free speech, free, honest, and lawful elections, drain the swamp of Washington corruption, and better health care choice at lower cost. All of which have more information. There you go. All of them have policy positions. Every one of these. Every one of these. That's Donald Trump. I'm not campaigning for him. I'm just reporting the facts after New York Times lied, saying he had laughable no positions. She's the one with no positions. Well, interim New York Police Department commissioner says the federal agents have searched his home in this controversy going on. Thomas G. Donlin recently took the interim role from Edward Caban after he resigned under a cloud. Said authorities seized material unrelated to the police department. Now, Mr. Donlin has served in all kinds of roles, including with the FBI previously. He said they searched and took material from his home that was unrelated to the police department. They took materials that came into my possession 20 years ago and unrelated to my work with the New York City Police Department. This is not a department matter, and the department will not be commenting. So what's that about? That's interesting. He's a native of Bronx, has a long background in federal law enforcement, including working with the FBI. He served in counterterrorism jobs domestically and abroad and security for Wall Street firms. Most recently, ran private security for a consulting firm, Global Security Resolutions, that he founded back in 2020. But in 2002-2003, he was in charge of the FBI's New York Counterterrorism Center and worked for the agency's National Threat Center until 2005. They took those documents. What did he do when he worked for them? Why is the FBI seizing records from him? Folks, Arizona has committed an egregious offense against America. Arizona officials found that nearly 100,000 voters didn't provide proof of their citizenship and were allowed to vote. Driver's licenses issued to replace original license obtained without proof of citizenship were accepted as proof of citizenship in state and local elections. I posted on Twitter, Maryland does this. I don't know how many criminal alien invaders have these licenses, but Maryland does issue them to criminal alien invaders with no documentation. Officials in Arizona have discovered a flaw that allowed more than 97, it's not a flaw, it's intentional, 97,000 residents, not citizens, to vote in state and local races despite not providing proof of citizenship. The Arizona Supreme Court has been petitioned to determine whether the people can still vote in November without providing proof of citizenship. This story ran on the 18th of September. On the 21st, we have an update. The Arizona Supreme Court will allow those 98,000 criminal alien invaders without confirmed citizenship documents to vote. Decision comes after officials of the database allow people who hadn't proved their citizenship a full ballot for 20 years. They voted in our elections. 100,000 people. What was the difference in Arizona? 20,000 votes and 100,000 people were able to vote illegally. We don't know how many of them did vote. But 100,000 people were authorized to vote in our elections illegally in one state where the difference in 2020 was 20,000 votes. Yeah, I know. Most safe and secure election. Remember that nonsense from the National Cyber Security Center the night of the election? This is the most secure election in history. Bogus. Arizona Supreme Court ruled on Friday that nearly 98,000 people who haven't proved their documents can vote in state and local races. Wow. That's unbelievable. But that is Arizona. Don't trust them for a heartbeat. Well, speaking of these criminal alien invaders, none of whom have legitimate basis to be here, people being described by Voice of America as refugees without verifying their refugee status, and you're not a refugee when you've been here forever. You're an immigrant. Legal or otherwise, you're an immigrant. Let's talk about this. In New Hampshire, refugees in New Hampshire turn to farming for income and a taste of home. A taste of home. You want to bring your broken garbage to New Hampshire? No, thank you. It's harvest time in central New Hampshire, and one farmer there appears to have transplanted from a distant continent. Farmers balance large crates laden with vegetables on their heads while chatting in Somali and other languages. As the sun burns away in the early morning, the farmers pick American staples like corn and tomatoes, as well as crops they grew like okra and sorrel. Many of the women wear vibrant orange, red, and blue fabrics. Most workers at this Dunbarton farm are refugees who've escaped harrowing wars and persecution. They come from the African nations of Burundi, Rwanda, Somalia, and the Congo. And now they run their own small businesses. I like it in the USA. I have my own job, says a Somali refugee, and farmer Khadija Alo, as she hams it up by sashaying past the reporter, using one hand to steady a crate of crops in her head and the other to give a thumbs up. Happy! I'm so happy. In all, 36 people from 5 African countries, including South Sudan and the Asian country of Nepal, work on the farms. Many were farmers in their home countries before coming to the U.S. or had previous experience with agriculture. Farmer Sylvain Bakusa, who escaped in 2000 from the decades-long conflict in the Congo, resulting in millions of deaths, spent 6 years with his wife in a refugee camp in Tanzania before being accepted into the U.S. in 2006. So he already had refugee status in Tanzania. Why did we accept him? He was living in Tanzania. Why did he come here 20 years ago, 18 years ago? That's not a refugee. That's destination shopping. Here's a heartwarming story of a tragedy that finally has an end. Terror in the skies over Germany. A 1940s Airman crew member lost over Germany has been finally identified and is having a respectful ceremony. Remains of Maryland aviator whose bomber was shot down in World War II have just been identified. Staff Sergeant John Tarbert, killed during World War II when his bomber was shot down over Germany. His remains have just been identified. The 9 men aboard the B-24, nicknamed Marzi Dotes, battled swarms of German fighters that day, and the plane was hammered by anti-aircraft fire. One member of the crew seemed overcome and unable to fight. Staff Sergeant John Tarbert, 24, of Port Deposit, Maryland, a waist gunner, was said to have been on his knees praying instead of firing his gun, according to later accounts. Tarbert had a wife back home who was 9 months pregnant. He'd already flown 17 missions and was on his 3rd mission in 6 days. When the order to bail out came, all on board did so except for Tarbert, who apparently was still in the plane when it crashed in a potato field near Koblenz, on September 27th, 1944. His body could not be identified, and he was declared missing in action. This month, almost 80 years after the aircraft went down and Tarbert was lost in one of the deadliest American air battles of World War II, the Department of Defense announced that unknown remains recovered later have been found to be his. Wow. His son, John Elliott, 79, of Schenectady, New York, said his father was killed 16 days before he was born and he never knew him. Yep. And now he'll have a dignified burial, nearly 80 years after he perished. So what's behind Germany's raging Islamophobia? Well, the second line from Farid Hafez, a senior researcher with Georgetown University's The Bridge Initiative, gives away what's going on. And doesn't he find this ironic? He doesn't see the irony in his title. It's not the first time the country fixates on demonizing a radicalized group and blaming it for crises. A radicalized group. Therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem. And he goes on in this article talking about these announcement of border controls are not surprising because that's the climate in Germany. It's not the alternative for Germany. It's not the right wing. It's the left that's doing this, and he points that out correctly. Yeah, he said analysts have pointed to the alternative for Germany as the driver, but it's not. It's the left. Yep. So he goes on and he talks about how this is, nonsense here. The anti-Semitic tint of Islamophobic imagery produced by German institutions is hardly surprising. Israeli-German philosopher Moshe Zuckerman has written, Islamophobia is the projection of an unutterable anti-Semitism. No, the invasion of Germany by an alien religion and alien culture imposing itself upon Germans is what's at play here. Muslims can go to the countries they've conquered through conquest. North Africa, the Balkans, the Middle East, Indonesia, and in fact, even into the Pacific. They can go there. They can have a home and have a culture, and they can have their minarets and play their music. But they've intruded into German life. And the Germans have nowhere they can go. If Germans want to have their lovely Tagtels and Dirndls and German Umpa music and beer fest, where can they go? They have no refuge. Their home is Germany. That's what it's all about. And these morons think it's okay for German culture to be extinguished and accommodate other people. In the UK, people have to listen to minarets 5 times a day. What is that bullshit in England? It's not a Muslim country. You can practice Islam, but you can't disturb the peace. I lived in Tunisia. 5 times a day, I'd listen to minarets. It's a Muslim country. They conquered it, fair and square. They extinguished the Christians after they conquered it. Nothing I can say about it. Well, folks, the Project 2025 is looking for conservatives if you'd like to join it. Want to be considered for positions in a new presidential administration? Submit your resume today to be included in the personnel database. Please fill out the questionnaire below and upload your resume for inclusion in the presidential personnel database if you'd like to be considered for positions in a presidential administration. Project 2025 is the effort of massive coalition of conservative organizations that have come together to ensure a successful administration begins in January 2025. There you go. To learn more about positions executive branch, please refer to 2020 Plum Book. There you go, Project 2025. So you can submit your application by clicking on that. It'll take you to it. You got to put your phone number in, request a passcode, and it goes from there. So you might be wondering, have I submitted my name? No. Do you know why? Because this database will be hacked, and these people will be targeted by banks. They'll be targeted by leftists. They'll be targeted by corporations for demonization and falsely called something they're not, just like Ronaldo Jose was falsely attacked in South Africa. That will happen to the people who put their names in this database. So good luck with that, folks. We know how that works. Anyway, for those who don't know, the real Chris Wyatt channel is still up. And if you're not a subscriber, please become one. I think most people here probably are subscribers, but you're welcome to join me on that channel. Where the heck is my video? Hang on, I'm missing something here. There we go. Here's the link to @RealChrisWyatt. Help me arrest the decline. I'm going to drop below 20,000. I had 23,000 subscribers, and they illegally took them away, illegitimately. Please go over there and subscribe to the channel if you're not, and help me keep the numbers up there. I put mostly U.S. political stuff up there now. Rome decided after great battles and lost legions that there was a border to Rome in Germania. Even at her high watermark, Americans went further, almost controlled the globe. History will record. We didn't control the globe. What are you talking about, Tibet? How do we control the globe? Where do we control the globe? We had control of former Spanish colonies, which we quickly put on a path to independence, the Philippines, Cuba, and some possessions which remain American possessions like Samoa and Puerto Rico. But when did America do that? We dominate the world, but we didn't control the world. 2020 elections, nothing to see. What's that? I heard Texas has removed approximately. I didn't hear that number. 600,000. Well, that'd be interesting. Was that what Tim Walz was accused of doing? What do you mean, Charles? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, no. Oh, well, Tim, well, yeah, no, he did approve it. So it's signed into law. The legislature of Minnesota gave Governor Walz the legislation. He signed it, allowing criminal alien invaders to get driver's license. Correct. Yep. Sank Ungar was trying to say they debunked the question in the story. He got shot down. I don't know the status of it. The media's been covering up, so I don't know. I haven't been reporting on that story because I can't find information on it. Yeah, South African cars during Hawk are not suited for the snow. They're not. Some of the SUVs, yes, if they had chains, but most cars are not. Palestinians don't want a two-state solution, never have. The whole issue should have been resolved a long time ago. Exactly. The Oslo Accords were done. Ehud Barak lost his prime ministership because he offered too much, even offered to negotiate the future status of Jerusalem once the two-state solution was in place. Balkanization is inevitable. Well, it certainly is true, that's for sure. Balkanization exists. So, America inherited the greatest British and all other European estates. Yeah, Devet, I'm not trying to be argumentative with you, but please tell me how. What did we inherit? The only thing we inherited was 13 colonies. That's it. We built the rest. The British established 13 colonies, and we built the rest. The Spanish acquisition from Spain and Florida, we got that. The Northwest Territories was part of the PRS peace. We got that because we negotiated, so you could argue that. But the rest of continental North America, Alaska, Hawaii, these are all our own efforts. And then our brief period being responsible for administering the Philippines and Cuba and others since 1945. Well, since 1945, America has dominated the world stage because the rest of the world was destroyed. The developed world was completely wiped out, just obliterated. Japan was crushed. China was destroyed. The Soviet Union was destroyed. Germany was obliterated. UK was heavily damaged. France was probably the one to escape with the least damage. And Italy was damaged too. Alaska purchased. We bought Alaska, from Russia, and we occupied Hawaii and took it over. Yep, from nobody. Nobody had it. So except the Hawaiians, the indigenous population. So, David, I understand your point, but we've dominated. We set the stage for the Bretton Woods Agreement, the Bretton Woods Institution, setting up the International Monetary Fund, the Bank of International Settlements, which became the World Bank, and the General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, which later became the World Trade Organization. These are all things that the U.S. dominated. The United Nations, we dominated the formation of that. That's all very true, but we didn't have an empire. You can call us an empire if you want, but we're not an empire unlike any other. We're an empire that didn't take territory. We don't steal platinum from South Africa. We don't steal diamonds from Botswana. We don't steal cobalt from Russia. We buy it. We buy it on open markets. Their commodities trade on the open marketplace. We grow our own rice, grow our own maize. We mine our own iron, produce our own petroleum, natural gas. Yep, lots going on. So I'm not arguing with Devet. I do appreciate the input. I'm just trying to understand. I think we're probably saying the same thing, just in a different fashion. Anyway, my on-air sign is repaired and back. I tell you, I felt very naked without that yesterday. I really like that in the background. I'm glad I bought it. And when I use the boom mic, which I can change colors, but I like to keep it on purple, it's just so awesome. It's so awesome because it matches that when I do those videos. Yeah, so anyway, guys, I encourage you all to check out my video. I did a video on Action SA. I don't know how to come across with Action SA. Hopefully it won't come across bad. It was not intended to be bad. Simply intended to make a statement. Let's see what they say. People were hot full overload. They all laughed at, like I said, Cilliers should leave and we'll see the incompetent people take reign again. Yeah, I don't know what that one comment was about. That doesn't make any sense to me, so let me see. So not many views, 169 in a little over an hour. But then, to be fair, I just posted. It's a Sunday, and some of my viewers are here, so it's going a little slow. But my videos, when I do it on Ramon Cabernac, they get lots of attention. When I don't do it on Ramon Cabernac, they're not getting much attention these days. True statement, folks. True statement. So we're still short of 19,000 subscribers on this channel trying to get it. You steal oil from Iraq. Yeah, Arctic's trying to be funny. There's not a single American petroleum company operating in Iraq. They're European companies. They're not Americans. And the Chinese, CNOC. Still think Trump's going to win election? I have no idea, William. I have no idea. They're trying to demoralize us with lies and fairy tales. It is fascinating. It is fascinating. I don't know. All things being equal, he should win the race. I don't know what's going on. I said as long as they head in the battleground states, he would win it. Don't know what's going on. Again, places like California, he's not going to win. New York, he's not going to win. And by the same token, Harris will not win Florida. She will not win Texas. So take those 4 big states off the table. Ohio is going to go for Trump. That's gone. So take Ohio off, and that's five of the biggest states right there out of the equation. They're already decided. They're already decided. It comes down to Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, and Arizona. Oklahoma's going to go for Trump. Wyoming will go for Trump. New Mexico probably go for Harris. We'll see. Louisiana Purchase, yeah, we bought that from the French, who got it from the Spanish and only held it briefly. Napoleon needed money. We paid $15 million U.S. at the time for Louisiana, which worked out to 3 cents an acre. Didn't I say Georgia? I meant to say Georgia. Georgia is one of them too. Georgia is critically important. It will be interesting to see what Virginia does. See if Trump takes Virginia this time. Yeah, the whole thing has become a whole scam, the way that the news media report this stuff. Now, I won't be able to see it because I'll still be at the polls when the numbers start coming in. So I won't be able to do the broadcast this year like I did last time. But what I will do is come home after midnight, and I will do a live broadcast, which will be tomorrow morning for South Africa, because I'm judge of elections, and I'll be doing that until almost midnight. So I'll set up for midnight, and maybe I'll get earlier than that, but that's a plan. So I'll set that stream up for midnight. And I'm not sure. I'll probably do it on the original channel and see if we can't draw people over there. U.S. is a very complex country. Many people don't even know half their history. That's true. It shouldn't be up to 4 states to determine the whole thing. Well, Arctic, it's not up to 4 states, and that's why we have the Electoral College, which ensures that the race isn't decided by the 4 big states. So California, with 53 votes, doesn't decide the election. It has a big role in it, but it doesn't decide it. The last time a Republican won California was 1988. George Herbert Walker Bush. Yep. Last time a Republican won Minnesota, I can't even recall if that's ever happened. Sure it has. Maybe it was Herbert Hoover. I don't know. Yeah. Some places are just gone. Yep. But it certainly shouldn't be up to the popular vote, not in a country as diverse and broad and large and populated as this country is. The Electoral College was an absolutely brilliant system designed when the country had just 3 million residents. It was brilliant. Under 3 million. Our first census in 1790 had 3 million, but we were just below 3 million when the Constitution was drafted 3 years prior. Texas not for Trump. What are you talking about? Well, Texas will go for Trump, Afghan. What are you talking about? Did you misunderstand something? I said California's off the map. New York's off the map. They go for Harris. Florida and Texas go for Trump. They don't count. They're gone. They're gone. Let's look at the electoral map. I had that. Let me see. Let me see if I can find that bookmark. Search bookmarks. Electoral. Where's the ABC one at? Come on. Okay, Real Clear Politics, New York Times. These are not the ones I'm looking for. Clinton, Trump. Hey, this is from 2016 when Trump won the race decisively. Look at this. Whoops, that's not what I want. Sorry. This is from 2016. This is what the New York Times ran. They had Clinton winning 347, Trump just 191. That's what they had. Trump won Ohio, he won Pennsylvania, he won North Carolina, he won Florida. That's 4 of them right there. Wow, they got that so wrong. He won Iowa, he won Michigan. Got all that wrong in 20. That's what they had in 2016. Wow, that's a bookmark I have from 2016. Let me see if I can't find the bookmark. I was trying to find it. It has the, let me see if I search this way. Search bookmarks, ABC. ABC News. Not there. Shoot, let me do that. I'll just do a search. This is annoying. Electoral map. There it is. Okay, interactive. All right, we're going to have a little fun with this now, if you're still here. Will President Trump have blood pressure by November? Seems there are holes in the fence. Yeah, no, he might not even be around the way it's going. All right, so here's the map. Okay, you ready? There's the map right now. Okay, interactive map. So you're going to go with me here. All right, you guys with me? You guys with me? Give me some thumbs up. Give me some thumbs up in the chat. Are you right with me? You ready? We're going to go through this map. We're going to do an electoral map right now, where my thoughts are, okay? Now, you misunderstood, African Idiot. You ready? Helen just subscribed to the old channel. Thank you for that, Helen. Yep. Okay, so here we go. Give me a thumbs up. Ahendo, give me a thumbs up. One person's ready. All right, Pablo Charlie. Here we go. I'm going to zoom it up a little bit here. And let me plus. Okay. Here we go. And I can take a historic one, but I'm going to go with this one, okay? Okay, here we go. Here we go, folks. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, Arctic says ready. All right, California. That goes to Harris, 54. Texas. That goes to Trump, 54 to 40. New York, 28. That goes to Harris, 82 to 40. Florida. That goes to Trump. Now it's 82 to 70. Those 4 states are off the map. Okay, you guys with me so far? Everybody with me? Williams finds it's disconcerting how the DA is willing to sacrifice principles. Well, it is disconcerting, and I've always warned people about that. They're about appearances, not about substance. Here we go. All right. So now, Oregon goes to Harris. She's got 90. Oklahoma goes to Trump. Washington to Harris. Kansas to Trump. She's leading 102 to 83. You guys with me? All right. Everybody with me so far? All right, keep updating this. All right, cool. Here we go. All right. Now, it gets interesting now. Maine goes to both. It splits, but I'll give it to Harris here, okay? New Hampshire goes to Trump. Vermont goes to Harris. Massachusetts goes to Harris. Connecticut goes to Harris. Rhode Island goes to Harris. Suddenly she's got a big lead, 131 to 87. New Jersey, we'll come back to Maryland goes to Harris. Okay? All right, now let's start putting some Trump states on the map, okay? You ready? All right, Nebraska goes to Trump. It's 141.92. South Dakota goes to Trump. North Dakota goes to Trump. All right, Montana goes to Trump. Idaho goes to Trump. Wyoming goes to Trump. Now it's 141. Filled in. Getting interesting. Utah goes to Trump. Ready? Alabama Trump. Now it's 141 to 124. Mississippi Trump. 130. Louisiana Trump. Now it's 3 vote difference here. Look at this. 3 vote difference. All right? 3 vote difference. What happens next? All right? Let's give Minnesota to her. Okay? We'll give her Virginia. Now it's 164 to 138. She's ahead. Give her Delaware. Okay? Then she gets New Jersey. Now she's got 181. What happens next? Well, Trump gets North Carolina. Trump gets South Carolina. Trump gets Georgia. Well, let's take Georgia off the map for now, okay? Oh, it's already on the map. I have to leave there. Trump's going to get that. So now it's 2 vote difference. Trump gets Arkansas. Now he takes the lead. Trump gets Tennessee. He's up 196 to 181. Trump gets Missouri, Kentucky, West Virginia, 218 to 181. Okay, now it gets dicey. What's left? Well, Alaska goes to Trump. Hawaii goes to Harris. And now it's 185. Let's say she gets Nevada, okay? She gets Arizona. It's 202. She gets Colorado. She gets New Mexico. Now she's got 217. Now look, it all comes down to the Rust Belt, folks. It all comes down to the Rust Belt at this stage. All right? We're spitballing this here, okay? All right. She gets Illinois. Now she's got 236. She's getting close to that 270. But Trump will get Indiana. He'll get Ohio. Oh, Trump is close. He's got 249. She's got 236. Now it comes down to Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Iowa. Well, Trump takes Iowa. Let's say she gets Wisconsin. She's got 246. He's got 255. It comes down to Michigan and Pennsylvania. Huh. She gets Michigan. He takes Pennsylvania, wins the race 274 to 261. Woo! Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. 274 to 261. 274 to 261. He wins in the closest electoral race in history. All right? Okay. Now, that's not how it's going to go. All right? Let me just change it very quickly here. You ready? You ready? Let me save a screen capture of that first off. Get down to 100% here. Okay, I'm going to save that. Okay. So that's a map, okay? All right, I like this interactive map. We can do stuff with it, okay? So, all right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to save that one, 274 to 261, okay? That's a possibility. I'm not saying that's going to be outcome. Now we're going to play around with it and come back, okay? So let me zoom in again. We'll go to 110 this time. That's good. Okay, I'm going to show you what's more likely. You ready for this? Okay. All right. Polling is predictive and is not assessing. I know what that means. All right, so he's going to win Michigan. He's going to win Wisconsin. And he's going to win Arizona. And that makes it 310 to 225. See how 3 states switch it right back? And he'll win that. So 310 to 225. He'll win it by 40, at least. He could win Nevada. Okay, let's save that one. Okay, I'm going to save that one. Okay. Just depends on how many dead people vote, Colonel. That's true. It depends on how many mail-in ballots come in, too. That's correct. And Republicans have been making a big surge. Both parties are corrupt, Republicans and Democrats. This mail-in balloting, it's nonsense. There's no reason for it. I'm going to say it's likely he takes Nevada as well. Okay. And that's probably where it's going to be 316. There is an outside chance he could take Virginia, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. That gives him 316. I think that's most likely what's going to happen right there. That's my most likely outcome. Somebody's out there mowing. It's very annoying. I have to go do some mowing myself. All right, so there you have it, folks. That's the situation. All right. And I don't see her winning based on Electoral College. I just don't see it. In order for Biden to win the last time, he had to take Georgia, he had to take Michigan, he had to take Pennsylvania, and he did. But we know why he took it. Yep. Trump gets West Virginia. Yeah, I got West Virginia in front of Trump, Pablo Charlie. All right, what do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of that? Anyone? What are your comments on what I just did? Anyone like that? Anyone think I'm crazy? Think I'm off the mark here? 85 people currently watching. Do you think the results will take several days? No, they shouldn't, William. They shouldn't have taken several days then, but there were stuff in the box. Pennsylvania violated the law. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court overruled the law, and they didn't declare it unconstitutional, which means that they violated the law. They were extrajudicial, extra legal, and they allowed ballots to be counted for 3 days after the election, which is against the law. Ballots that came in 3 days after. You can count elections, you can count ballots until you have to count them. If it takes you 3 days, then it takes 3 days. It shouldn't take you that long. But they allowed ballots to arrive for 3 days after the election. That's against the law, and they did it. The governor had announced he was going to accept them for 10 days after the election. So you basically could see the outcome of the race, and then you could go vote to change the outcome. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. Anyway, yeah. I don't know how many of those people will vote in the election. I don't know. Anyway, don't reverse the numbers like they did. Yeah, well, the reason they reversed the numbers, Maryland, is because they kept counting votes. Well, oh, you're talking. Yeah, that's right. They reduced. Yeah, that whole thing. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened there. Boy, this mower is very annoying. Almost sounds like it's in my yard. Anyway. All right, folks. Yeah, so we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for coming in on Sunday. I hope you found this informative and useful. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for hit the like button if you don't mind. We didn't get to 100 likes. That's a little depressing, disappointing. Let me see if I got any new subscribers. Nope, not a single new subscriber, but I was looking for them coming hopefully from the content that I did, but there's nothing there. 4 comments. Let's see who else commented here. Not much there. Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a good Sunday. I'm going to go cut a little bit of grass, and then I'm going to get a shower, and then I'm going to watch Caitlin Clark against Connecticut Sun in the WNBA playoffs, 3 p.m. All right? Thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you, Yvette Martins. Thank you for listening and not presuming I was attacking you, because some people just lose their mind and assume that. Yeah, Pennsylvania will be key. You are correct. Everybody take care. Be safe. And thanks to everybody who went over and helped Rugby Senate. Rugby Senate. If you've Rugby and Senate have such a great day yesterday. If you didn't have the old @real Chris Wyatt and you found out about it today, thank you for subscribing there. I do appreciate that. You got to help me arrest that. YouTube is evil over there. They keep taking subscribers away, even though people are watching the channel. It's bizarre. Anyway, the channel disappeared for 2 years, and no one could sign up or remove their subscriber base, but I somehow lost over 2,000 subscribers when it came back. And since then, since March of last year when they restored it, they have taken away an additional 1,000 subscribers. Thanks. You're very welcome, Charles. You all have a good day. Thanks for being here. God bless. And if you're trapped in the snow, be careful out there. Cheers, everybody.